you might struggle to find where it was typed or written down, but there was an agreement, and the case of a disloyal payment
between both parties.
the case of a disloyal payment doesn't come into
but
question.
you know how these things are consulted. I mean, when you are in an organization, everything has to be documented, because when you invite the auditing firm or auditors, they are not going to rely on verbal evidence.
There has to be something to work with.
There has to be something to work with. So anything that does not reconcile with the amount coming in and going out, you are likely to go in for it. And at any rate, both Blatter and Platini, they have the chance of making written submission or asking for a formal hearing. So they are still innocent until proven guilty. But these things are, quite, just when you feel that the one saga is over, another comes up, and it's quite unfortunate for football.
Okay, Toby, before we came on set, we talked about this, so I'm going to allow you probably say what you said to me before we came on. Let's talk about a manager that is facing problems so early in the season, and some of us can't understand why. The man in your picture, Rafael Benitez, under pressure. I think he's just lost 2 matches.
Yep.
But I told you so. I told you something. Yeah. I said if you're going to lose, just don't. If you're a Real Madrid coach, for any reason, do not lose to Barcelona. And I think that's why he's facing this problem.
I mean, because of the rivalry between his club side and the history between them, and losing at home in such scoreline is something unacceptable to Madrid, the fans and the management. But you look at how Benitez, got his job, got the support of everyone, got the support of the management, the fans, and they said, hey, he's the top man for the job. But looking as if I can't say he's not getting it right, because if you consider 2 defeats early enough in the season, you still got a chance to say, snatch up the title of Barcelona. You can still do well in the UEFA Champions League. So the season is still young. But when, just like you said, when you consider such defeat against Barcelona, especially at Bernabeu, it brings a lot of pressure. And Benitez need to wake up. He need to check the flaws, try to correct them, and then try to settle 1 or 2 things. I think he's having some, some dressing room problem with some players. You need to settle that as quickly as possible, because most time players are powerful, and it is just obvious that some players in Madrid are very, very powerful, and they can put any coach into problems.
Like this man in your picture.
So, Benitez just need to wake up to this one and step up.
Yeah, let me quickly allow Onyewuchi have his say on this. 2 issues, quickly. 2 issues. We're reading that Cristiano Ronaldo is saying that it's either this man leaves or I leave. 1. We're also hearing that Zinedine Zidane may just be called in. He is currently handling the junior side for Real Madrid. Maybe, although Zinedine Zidane said, "Look, I'm not ready for that. I'm not." And today the club gave the manager their backing. But we all know when the club gives you the backing, 1 or 2 weeks later, you might just lose your job.
Yeah, I don't really envy Rafael Benitez. I think when Real appointed him, they should have known that he has a specific philosophy. When you're going to get a coach as a club, you look at the philosophy of the team, the mentality, the way they play, and you look at the style of the coach. This man is not going to change overnight. You don't learn the left hand in old age. He likes building his team from the defensive style of play, and the Madrid players don't like that. The Madrid fans don't like that. They like high pressing, intensity,
goals,
so,
all out attack.
There will always be conflict, and his own is even made worse by the fact that they have superstars, the Galacticos. Some of them could have their way. Florentino Perez, the president of the club, has the listening ears of some of the top stars. So in such an environment, I think the only way the club is selling is the rocks, because one man has to be in charge. And when there are conflicting interests, there will always be problems. There will always be dissenting views and opponents here and there. For Benitez, when you lose against Barca, I think it's sacrilegious. The rivalry happens everywhere. When Maurice Koeman went to Ghana to coach Ashanti Kotoko, he lost against House of Oak. The following moment, he was sacked because the fans could not bear that. So I think for him, he should realize it's either he's shipping or ship out. He has to change his style, but I think it's going to be difficult for him.
All right, let's quickly talk about the live match currently going on in the English Premier League. 45 minutes of football played, currently in added time. Crystal Palace taking on Sunderland is goalless as we speak. It's goalless. Crystal Palace playing at home, and of course Sunderland traveling down there to play this game. So we'll keep you posted. We'll tell you what is happening in that game. If anything happens before we wrap things up on the show. Guys, let's quickly talk about the UEFA Champions League. And I don't feel like saying this, but a lot of people have accused the Arsenal manager of he talks about doping recently. A lot of people are saying, look, you're not going to sneak in through the back door.
Face your own issues.
Forget about this issue of one player from Dinamo Zagreb or something. The results should be changed because of what happened. I don't know if you agree with all that talk.
Well, he has to remain focused, and in view of the fact that some players are even injured. Your team is facing serious,
yeah,
injury crisis.
Deepening injury crisis.
So he has to dig deep and find a way of getting. It's a do or die thing for us now. They are condemned to win.
Yeah. Do you think it should get to a point where if a player is caught for doping, the result that the team gets, should change?
It depends on the rules. It depends on the rules of
That's what I'm saying. I said, should it get to that point? Currently, it's not so.
Yeah, it should get to that point. The different thing about football is teamwork. For the games like athletics, is an individual thing.
Yeah, individual sport.
And that individual is solely responsible for what happens to him, and maybe with his coach. But for football, like every other team event, they will also consider the future of other players. So, but it should be included when you run foul short of the laws. You should face the music. It means that you didn't win fair, you didn't win clean.
Okay.
So I think the rules should be revisited.
Okay, all right. You saw it just now, but I'm very sure you're going to see it again. UEFA Champions League fixtures. Well, let me quickly run through those fixtures for you. Zenit St. Petersburg takes on Valencia. Bate Borisov takes on Bayer Leverkusen. Arsenal takes on Dinamo Zagreb. They are condemned to win, like Onyiwuchi said. Barcelona currently cruising now. They're taking on Roma. Bayern Munich takes on Olympiacos. FC Porto take on Dynamo Kiev. Lyon take on Ghent. And Maccabi Tel Aviv that has our own Nosa Igeba also in action. But guys, let's go back to this issue of doping and talk about Kenya. An interesting thing happened in Kenya today when the athletes went to the office of the Athletics Kenya Federation and blocked everywhere and did not allow the officials to enter. They staged a protest. What they are asking for is that the top officials should resign. They want change because of allegations of cover-up when it comes to doping and also corruption issues. There are issues tied to a Nike sponsorship deal, and the athletes felt something, some underhand tactics were used, and of course there are also fears that it could get worse for Kenya if the people that are there are left in charge. So the athletes are saying we want a change, and they ensured that the premises was locked this morning.
Well, I think the reality about sports administration, especially in Africa, is that while the athletes, are improving, some of the sports administrators
just remain on the same level.
They remain stagnant. A lot of issues, financial recklessness, like you said, the money meant for Nike. And you see, these athletes are exposed to the best facilities. They have seen
international
standards that are very, very high. And when they come back, they are scandalized with the way administrators behave in their country. So I don't blame them if they have demonstrated. We just hope that things are done properly. And what they are trying to avoid is what happened in Russia.
Yes.
Where they are even trying
to
clean up the Russian Athletics Federation. There is likelihood of elections by next year. To get rid of some of those bad eggs, clean up the place, bring in new coaches, and start afresh. I think that's what they're trying to achieve. But for sports administration in Africa, it needs to improve. It needs to improve because these athletes are some of the best
in the world
when it comes to long distance races all over the world.
And just to add to what you said before I go to Toby, Kenya now is already delving into areas that that we don't know to be their strengths.
Yeah.
At the last IWF World Championship, we saw a Kenyan winning javelin. We are seeing them going to 400, 800. But to be quickly, as we wrap things up, if you don't have proof, you're just making allegations that people have done something. Can you go to the office, lock it up, and demand their resignation?
No, I mean, in as much as this is ugly, but I think the athletes really take a brave decision, because the truth of the matter is, just like when you said, administrators ride on athletes, ride on players. These are people, that brings the glory back to the country, make the fans happy, and at the end of it, they don't get what they really deserve. So, I mean, it is very sad, and I just hope, the government can just come into their head and, get things done. If the athletes say they don't want this administration, that means something is wrong, and they need to be flushed out of the system.
Okay, well, we hope that the Kenyans, for the sake of Kenya, for the sake of Africa, will be able to get things right and turn things around for their own sakes, and ensure that issues of corruption are not there anymore. Issues of doping, systemic doping, also will not raise its ugly head anymore. Before I go, guys, I want to thank you for your time on the show. Really thank you for making our time to be here with us on Monday night. We hope to see you again.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Thanks.
Toby?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay. All right, that's how we wrap things up. But we're not going to leave without allowing you enjoy this one more time. Novak Djokovic enhanced his status as the best male tennis player in the world. And he did this by defeating who most of us believe is the best tennis player for the men in this era. And that's talking about Roger Federer. So let's allow you to enjoy what happened at the World Tour Finals. Novak Djokovic doing the job on Roger Federer. You enjoy that, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye now.